That was wonderful. At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Hefner for our superintendent's report.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's indeed great things are continuing to happen in our district all the time, and we know that one of the challenges we face is that again we are seeing increased growth and enrollment here in our district, really from the very far east to the very far west. People are choosing to come here and enroll with us. And so, as you know, one of our ongoing challenges is to make sure that we have, we maintain appropriate facilities and we have spaces for the students who come to us. And so tonight, the first thing we want to talk about under the superintendent's report is to give you an update on the plans for the construction of the new wing at Chapin Middle School, which will increase our capacity there from a little over 800 to a little over 1,200 students. And here to speak with you this evening are our representatives from Quackenbush and Associates, the architectural firm that you have employed to design this third wing. So, Mr. Quackenbush.
And we have a hoity-toity PowerPoint to share with you. Architects need pictures. So anyway, we are delighted to be back in front of you and working with you again, and very excited about completing Chapin Middle School. As you know, it was conceived as a three-wing school. We had the funds to build two of those wings. We now are embarking on that third. So we're excited to be able to update you. Just so you know where we are in the schedule, we have just completed our schematic design drawings, so this is a very appropriate time to update you. We've submitted those to the Office of School Facilities, and we are on track to be underway and under construction this summer. So with that, do we have a clicker? The clicker. Okay. Let's see if it is turned on. Yeah, there we go. All right. And my colleague Wendy is going to walk you through the plans, and then I will rejoin and talk about the exterior and elevations. Wendy?
Okay, so this plan that's up now is the overall plan of the school. The existing school is about 122,000 square feet. The new wing is an additional 35,000. So all in all, with the new addition will be about 157,000 square feet. Just to get everyone oriented as well, off to the north, which is facing upwards in this drawing, is Broad River Road. And then to the right is the existing car loop and main entrance. And to the left is where the bus loop is currently, and where we will be readdressing the entrance there for the new wing. So basically, this is a repeat of all the wings that are before this. So the third wing is almost the same. The small exception is off to the far left there is a drama room, multi-purpose room. In the other two wings on the first floor, there is an art classroom and science lab, along with the nurses station in the middle wing. So that's really the main difference. We're continuing the main street corridor down the center, and also including another open monumental stair off to the far left there in the bottom that you can see. And it's very reminiscent of the stair on the main entrance side. The second floor, again, pretty much the same, with the exception of reworking where the lobby space or the second floor corridor space is. All in all, we're adding 15 new general purpose classrooms, along with the 4 science classrooms and the drama multi-purpose room. We're also reworking at the top of the top center on the second story there, which is in orange. That's the team project room, and that's being planned in a way where it could be used as a classroom further down the road. So there could be 3 additional classrooms that are included in this project if it's needed.
Okay, so we have some three-dimensional renders to share with you. We start with this view because we want to point out that the bus loop, which is currently located to the west, will remain in operation throughout the construction of this third wing. Again, this was planned so there's no impacts to that site infrastructure. In fact, we have stuff under the ground that's going to help facilitate this addition. This next slide shows you the current Chapin Middle School, its current configuration, and then that shows you the impact of that third wing. It really does complete the school. It completes the definition of the courtyard spaces, the outdoor learning spaces that are there, and grows to the west where the bus loop will be. So we have some bird's eye views and some up front views. Obviously, the rendering here is meant to represent the existing materials. We would, of course, continue the palette that's already been selected with your help. This is a bird's eye looking at the new courtyard that would be formed as part of the third wing. Those gray bars that you see kind of in the foreground, that is the cantilevered roof canopy for the bus loop. Another view, you can see through it. That was just an obscuring of what that canopy will feel like. And then this is a feature that's actually kind of a new idea that we think is a real strength, and that is to add a new canopy, again, on the bus loop side, using the same materials and form of the main entry that's on the car loop side. So here's another view that helps you see that. This should look a bit familiar from being out there on site. You can see that we've taken this same idea, scaled it down a bit, and that's your first view entering the school from the east. And there's a nice brick element here, stone element here that complements the brick at that new extension to Main Street. So again, some views kind of looking around. Here's a detailed view of that courtyard, the outdoor learning space, a bird's eye of that new extension of Main Street out towards the bus loop. And then I'm hoping this video works on your monitors, but we have a video that shows you three-dimensionally what's happening. Is that working on your screen? If not, take a look behind you. You can see how it comes up. You can get a good view of how it masses up. Again, this shouldn't surprise you because it's a repeat of something that was conceived with the original design. So again, we're here for questions. I'd like to repeat again how excited we are to be working with you and to be able to complete Chapin Middle School, a school we're very proud of, and we know that's given you good use. So we'll take questions.
Mr. Quackenbush, I can tell you we're very proud of Chapin Middle School too, so we share the pride. And I was thrilled to hear the ad of the stonework on the backside at the bus loop, and just only enhance. We've gotten so many compliments. I want to thank Ms. Hutchison for her work with that to help foster that idea. But we're open to questions. Anybody have any questions at this point to Mr. Quackenbush or Wendy? Ms. Hammond, I'm sorry.
More than just a question, I too want to tell you how great it looks, and I'm excited when we add on and it's something that's been done right, and it makes it easier for you to continue with what the original plan was. Mm-hmm. I think that I had just two little questions. The courtyard, mm-hmm. Does it have that black, is it sort of a black wrought iron?
Yes.
Gate around it?
It does.
And it goes all the way around it, so that's safe, good.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great idea with middle schoolers.
Looking for that balance of security,
Yeah,
but also
but
making
it
it feel
looks
very
aesthetically beautiful, good.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we've locked them in or anything.
No.
And the other thing, you probably said this, it's 15 new classrooms, right? And so with those
Plus
new,
science and drama.
There will be 4 science
Yeah.
classrooms and a lab, and then the multipurpose drama room.
well, I was interested, do they, and this may not be exactly your question, but do they sort of separate them by areas for the 7th grade and for the 8th grade? Like it's a 7th grade hall and an 8th grade hall. That's how they do that. Mm-hmm. And so when we finish this, our capacity will be how much for kids?
Over 1,200.
Okay, that's all I wanted. Thank you. It looks great.
Thank
Looks
you.
great.
Thank you.
Ms. Hutchison.
It does look great. I'm excited about it, and I am very thrilled about the back entrance. That's really nice. Mm-hmm. We were talking the other week about some of the other schools and some of the older schools and how from the roof or from the road you can see the HVAC systems. And we're saying, well, we really would prefer to have those blocked off so that's not all you see because you've got such a beautiful building. I don't recall what the HVAC looks like from the road for this
That's a good
school.
thing, right?
Well,
That we
well,
don't
That's,
See it,
that's
yes.
my question, is it,
Yes.
does it have some sort of fence or
It
barrier?
does. It has a metal screen wall that actually links with the clear story in each of the houses. You can see it in this view, actually. So the mechanical units are enclosed by a metal screen wall that appears in other site features in the school. So you mostly see the light wells that are leading down into the house. It's kind of behind that, but when you do get a clear view, it's a metal screen that you see, not the mechanical unit.
Great,
Yeah.
wonderful, thank you.
Mr. Gant,
Yes, ma'am.
that made me think of a question after Ms. Hutchins said that. You know, so many of our schools have the flat roof, and we always worried about, I mean, evidently it's not a problem because that's what we've got, but what has been, just give me a little background. When it is a flat roof, is that worse about the water and, you know, I'd like to be able to answer that to people. You know, a lot of times they worry, do you have to replace that roof because it was flat in the first place? But that must be the right way to do it because that's what so many of our schools are. I just want to hear my architects.
Yeah, so with larger floor plates, it is the best way to do it. I think the difference in how they're designed today and how they were designed
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago
Like our momentum.
is they do have a slope. So there's actually a minimum slope, 1/4 to 1/2 inch per foot, that's achieved with tapered insulation that gets the water off the roof.
Oh, great.
It's when those design minimums are violated that water tends to pond and then it finds its way through. And then, of course, the detailing of where the roof meets the wall is another key thing. Best practices usually solves those problems. And you might want to remind folks that even a slope roof is often a 20-year roof or a 25-year
Right,
roof.
it's never going to be forever.
Right.
But that's good, because that was one of we have in the past, and I've had 3 kids through the schools, and so I've been here a long time with, even not on the board, where people would say, it looks like every few years they're having to repatch the roof because of, is it because it's flat? So
Yeah.
so I've got my answer. Thank you.
Good.
Mr. Quackenbush, I wanted to follow up. Ms. Hutchins and I were talking the other day. We were, this district, we're going to do some dedication of some solar panels at our Career Center on about March 22nd or 23rd. But was there any consideration, there will be mechanical HVAC for this unit that's already in place, or will it be built specifically for that? And I guess my question is was there any consideration of maybe doing a solar adaptation on this as a possibility, or is it too late to consider that?
It's definitely not too late to consider it. It can be added to the existing building as well as the new addition. We haven't had those conversations yet. Typically, those programs are tied to grants and other, additional income that helps make them more affordable. But that can be added at any point. So that's a conversation we can certainly have.
Well, I would think this board would probably be open to you exploring that somewhat, but, and I know things are, I don't know a lot about it. It sounds like some of the legislation that was out there as incentives is kind of bogged down or stopped right now, but it might be a way to foster ahead where one of our big costs every year happens to be utility costs. So
Right.
something that would be state-of-the-art that would help us and a renewable source. And I think at the center, there's going to be a lot of teaching with the panels that are put there, but there's also the possibility of using part of that energy to power part of the building. So,
Absolutely.
So
Be
I would
happy
think
to
the
explore
board would be
that.
open to looking at that. Thank you.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Quackenbush. Thank you, Wendy. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
your being here and look forward to the final product.
Yes, sir. Us too. Thank you so much.
And at this time, we'll go to our Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Lynn Richardson, for our monthly financial reports.
Thank you, Dr. Hefner, members of the board. Exhibit B of your packet is the monthly financial reports for the month of January 2017. I'll briefly hit the highlights. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you may have about the detail, but excuse me, for the month of January, we received $31,293,595 in revenue, and we had expenditures totaling $13,486,936. Year-to-date, we've collected $105,705,346, and to date, we have spent $83,641,832. The detail on the revenues and expenditures are in your packet, obviously, but I'll be glad to try to answer any specific questions that you might have from the reports that were provided.
Any questions?
That's it for me.
I'm having just a little follow-up, and it ties into this somewhat. And I'm thinking about our budget. We're going to be in budget discussions very soon. I know there's a number of issues at the State House that may impact this district in the future. Last year was a very good budget year for schools and education statewide, but some of these categories next year could be deeply impacted by some of the things that I know as far as the retirement shortfall and the retirement plan. And also, I think there's a funding piece tied to improving roads that might take dollars out of actually education budget. I don't know if you'd care to elaborate on that. I know we're acting on that, trying to make our legislators aware of the impact that might have, but it certainly could impact an operational budget in a big way next year, the kind of things we've heard so far. So.
Absolutely, it could. I don't know a lot yet, but what I do know is that, as part of the pension reform, their cost to school districts or to any governmental entity that is a member of the South Carolina retirement system, their costs are going up. Right now, the projections are we can look at our costs going up 2%. That's going to cost us in this district, somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.5 million alone, just to continue to do what we're doing now. In addition, as part of what the Ways and Means Committee of the House have done so far is they've, in an effort to, I guess, put a roads bill before the House, they have actually reduced our Education Improvement Act, which was the penny sales tax implemented in 1984. They're redirecting about $37 million of that to the roads bill now, so that's going to be a loss to us. Now, I don't know which specific line items that we could expect to be reduced yet, but I do expect a reduction in the funds.
Thank you. Thank you for elaborating on it. I just knew it would impact this if some of the things we're hearing did come to pass. Any other, Ms. Hammond?
If I could follow up, this is if what if, but if they did raise the pension amount 2%, would the district be the one that had to pay that, or we would pass it on to that employee? How does that work?
No, it's the employer cost. There will be some funding that goes along with the increased amount of money that the district is going to have to pay on behalf of each employee.
Uh-huh.
However, it won't be enough to cover our cost. Probably won't come close to covering our costs, quite frankly. But that's not unusual. It's what's unusual to see this big of a cost increase. And I think what we're looking at, in addition to the 2% this year, is another 1% over the next several years to try to get the
pension.
$20 billion
Yeah.
pension deficit down, liability.
Because they're hearing from state employees of any, not just schools, but all, that they're talking about the whole pension for all state employees.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, the employee is going to see a
Some
cost.
increase too.
And, that's going up in July about approximately 0.5% for each employee.
Okay.
So if-
That's what I knew, that there would be some of that put on the employee.
Well,
And then
in-
I didn't know how much.
In a year that it doesn't appear that there are going to be any raises, any cost of living raises, employees potentially could see their paychecks go down as a
That's
result of
right.
that.
Any other comments, questions?
That concludes the superintendent's report. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Hefner. That will bring us to our action items. We had no one sign up for public participation, so item number 13.